Aloha there, beautiful people. My name is Golf from Putt's World, and let me just fix this camera setup real quick. And today I have something to talk about. This is for people who are kind of depressed and have divorced parents. And I am kind of speaking from experience here. I know how tough it is to have parents who, at one point were together when you were with them, but now that they kind of separated and they both went their separate ways, like it's some, especially as a young kid or a young child, it's kind of something hard to like swallow and digest and kind of like understand, like, the psychology and the thought process behind it. Like I said, speaking from experience myself. So I have a couple of points here that just to talk about. Still kind of new to this whole YouTube thing, so not really like just all over the place. The first point I wrote for this video in particular, and I know some of this is a very like sensitive topic for some people. Like, some people may joke around saying like, oh yeah, haha, I got like divorced parents, or I don't have a mom, or I don't have a dad, or like oh, I only live with my mom, or oh, I only live with my dad. It's something that we as kids tend to make light of, just so we don't have to focus or worry on like negative things, like negative connotations with divorced parents. Like, say for example that our parents, or that one parent, is working so hard to take care of two people now. Like they're by themselves and they have to not only feed themselves but feed you and make sure you're doing okay with either like school or work or whatever, right? It's a lot for the parent themselves to take care of a child, especially if the parents kind of separated on like a really bad note, like they don't want to have to do anything with each other, as in my case, that only being from one side. So the first point is, like, if you do feel depressed and you are sad and you don't know who to talk to, either your mom or your dad, it's not really a good idea to take sides. It's not a good idea to kind of play favoritism in a sense. In other words, you don't want to necessarily love one parent more than the other, because then that's just gonna kind of create more of like toxic environment towards you, because not only does the other parent see that you love that other parent a lot more, now they're gonna just start treating you in a way that's not healthy. Like, they're just gonna start interacting with you in a way that's not necessarily healthy for your relationship, which ultimately pushes you further away from that parent, right? Which in my case is with my dad. So my dad had custody over me, and my parents divorced when they were like when I was 4, which was a long time ago. I'm 21 years old now, so that was a long time ago. And my mom she couldn't really speak English like as well, because she came over from Laos, from a third world country, so she wasn't really proficient in English. So my dad had custody over me, and like, my dad was just kind of keeping me like in a box, like he was trying to keep me from thinking for myself, or really just putting like limits on me and what I could do as a little kid. And so, like, the more and more he put limits on me, like, the more he started to see that I was kind of functioning within those limits. But every time I would go over to my mom's house, which I very, very rarely ever saw, I was having a lot of fun. I was a lot happier when I was with her, and I just kind of missed her and kind of favored her over my dad a lot more. So that kind of, gave my dad an incentive to kind of talk, like, not necessarily, like, not say good things about my mom, saying it lightly. Like, he would tell me straight up, like, she's not a good person, or like, she's not the person who you think she is. Like, he's trying to plant these, like, negative thoughts into my head, even though it's still my mom at the end of the day. He was trying to make her out to be the bad guy. But as I grew older, I've learned that, he also kind of had reasons why he would say it. Which brings me to my next topic. You kind of have to communicate with your parents, in a sense, to both sides. Maybe one side is, kind of easier to talk to than the other side. But at the end of the day, there's still your parents. It's still your mom and your dad. At the end of the day, you still have to talk to them about your life choices and your life decisions. You don't have to tell them everything about it, but, just kind of bring it up and make them feel included in your life. You know what I mean? Don't think of them divorcing or separating as your fault, as the reason was because of you. No, that's not the reason. Most of the time it's either like financial issues, or they just aren't kind of like a good match for each other. Like, sometimes the other person's like flaws or quirks kind of bother the other person, in a sense, and it only allows them to see those negative things about them, and they can't see like the positive or the good things about them. You know what I mean? It's the same with any relationship. It's, at the end of the day, you still have to put in work into a relationship, and you have to. Everybody has their flaws. Everybody has their mistakes. Everybody has something about them that, some type of baggage that they're bringing along with the relationship. But the thing is, it's how you help each other. It's how you deal with them. It's not how you handle their baggage, in a sense. And there is a spider. You have to communicate your feelings and your emotions. If, say for example, one parent is like, I don't know where it went. Oh, I should probably do something about this. As I was saying, you have to communicate to both parents about what you're feeling, what you're going through, what's bothering you, what's troubling you, because don't think of it as like, oh, one side is just trying to tell me like, you feel this because of this way, this reason, it's only this. You have to think about it as like, you're getting two different perspectives, two different outside forces on your situation that you're going through, or your problems, or your emotions. Either you're getting two validated reasonings or validated opinions about you as a person, because at the end of the day, they both still care about you. They both still love you no matter what, because you're their child. Like, you're essentially carrying forth, or kind of living with their responsibilities, their expectations of you, on carrying or having whatever they necessarily couldn't achieve when they were your age, or so on and so forth. So that's kind of like the second topic, is to communicate with your parents about your feelings and emotions, or your problems, or whatever you're going through. Like, it's good to get both sides, like two different sides, two different opinions on it, because you might learn something about the situation, or they might tell you something that you necessarily didn't even think about before, because you were so caught up on the problem and the situation that you don't really know what's going on, or you don't know how to handle it. Like I said, just speaking from experience, like, want to pass on this message, because the whole point of this YouTube channel is to like record my journey of like, just kind of adulting and growing up and like being aware of, being more open-minded and like just kind of recording my progress of me as a person, as a human being, living on this earth, like going through hardships, going through tough times, going through good times, doing all that stuff. And I have a lot more videos planned. Maybe in the future they will be more like organized and planned. Obviously I'm going to like cut out all the dead space and all the things that aren't necessarily adding, like, basically I'm just gonna cut out dead space and get rid of segments and parts that don't really add value to the video. But if you guys prefer having like uncut videos and everything, then like I said, just let me know and I can upload a full uncut video next time I do one of these talks with you guys. But it's just that this has been on my mind for a while, and I know I tend to ramble and like I tend to go on tangents a lot, but it's just something that I think about from time to time. And like I would tell you guys more about like my background and who I am as a person, but that I'm saving that for another video, because I feel like that in and of itself will equal out to like at least a 20-minute video. So moving on to the next point that I brought up is, don't try to distance yourself from your parents. I know that's something that I've had an issue with before, is that I've had that mentality of like, oh, I don't need your help, or oh no, I don't need your help, or I don't need you, or no this, no that, and I just kind of shut myself off from the entire world itself. Thinking and looking back on it now, like, that's something like, it's a pretty childish thing to do. Like, you're essentially closing yourself off from any kind of interaction, any kind of human connection, someone to talk to at least. You have feelings for a reason. You have emotions. You need to talk about these emotions so you can feel validated for yourself. That's why we have these emotions and feelings that we feel. For me, like, I was kind of closing myself off and like playing video games. Like, I was always on the computer playing video games, watching YouTube videos, like on Skype with friends. Well, I can still call them friends, but it's just more of like online gaming friends. If anything, they necessarily don't want to talk about their problems, or you don't really want to bring up to your friends like, yeah dude, like I'm kind of depressed, like I don't really have anybody to talk to. Like, some people, they just don't know how to handle that, or they don't really take it seriously. It's something that I've struggled with for a long time actually, and I've just now kind of I guess reintroducing myself slowly to my family and my girlfriend, and it's still kind of a struggle with friends, but that's more on a different note. Could be a different topic to talk about, but in general, like, I was always shutting myself off, always kind of subtracting myself from the equation, because my thought process of it was like, I don't really want to bother anybody about my problems. I don't think that it's it's a necessary thing to do, to bother other people about my problems, because everybody has their own problems, right? But the thing is, like, you kind of need like a good support system, or you need someone to validate your feelings, or at least listen to what you have to say, and then just kind of help them through it. Like, you need someone to just listen to you and like kind of validate your feeling. Like I said, like I know I repeat myself, but it's literally just for validation. Like, just let me know if the feelings I'm feeling, the feelings that I'm feeling are like right, or are they wrong, or is there something wrong with me? Is there something that I'm not getting? Like, that's what I had to go through, was that I kind of distance myself from people. So that's another point, is just to not distance yourself from people, or at least the people you care about the most, or the people who care about you, which is mainly your family. Like I said, it's something that I have to still work on, but it's something that my dad kind of taught me, in a sense. And there's a saying that really helped me kind of get this point further into my head, which is, no one is truly ever lost until you stop looking for them. And that's something that kind of hit me deep, like, especially with my dad, because he's a very hard-headed person, typical Asian dad, hard-headed, very stubborn, his way or the highway. He's not the type to talk about his feelings or his emotions at all. He doesn't talk to me about anything special in particular. Just, are you going to school? Nope, better go to school. That's it. And sometimes the occasional tech support. But, that's, like I said, it's something that, like, I've learned about him, is he's also going through his own problems. He also has his own problems, and he might not have anybody to talk to. And, me kind of leaving him during high school, moving in with my mom, like, it kind of, like, gave him a sense of, like, oh, nobody loves me. Oh my god, there's another spider, bro. Yo. Point being is, don't distance yourself. Don't push yourself. Don't shut yourself out from people. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to look for, people. If you don't trust your parents, or if you don't think you can talk to your parents, talk to somebody you trust. Talk to somebody who you think, who you can trust with your feelings. Just kind of follow your heart, in a sense. Like, follow what your heart is telling you at the end of the day, because your heart is essentially what holds your core values and what holds your beliefs to yourself. Like, your heart, you kind of just have to listen to it. It's kind of like a guiding force, in a sense. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm kind of bad at explaining stuff, but it's like I said, it's really easy for me to interpret things and kind of formulate my own thoughts, but kind of explaining it to people, that's one issue that I have. But it's something that I'm working on. I'm working on it. It's not necessarily like perfect, but I'm working on it. Also, another thing is, if you do have siblings, another point is, if you have siblings, like, it's always good to talk them through the situation that they're in. You know what I mean? It kind of gets you to take a step back and explain it to your younger siblings, like, hey, like, this isn't the end of the world. Like, this is something, like, it doesn't mean, like, they're gonna be gone forever. We can still see them at the end of the day. There's ways that we can see them and talk to them and communicate to them, and you just basically explaining it to kind of a younger version of yourself, in a sense, like someone who doesn't really know the harshness or the reality of the world yet. You know what I mean? It kind of gets you to take a step back and, like, oh, okay, like, get you a different perspective on it. Like, I feel like that's helped me a lot, because my family is kind of crazy. I am the only child from my parents, but I have 4 other half sibling, half slash step siblings. So it's kind of a mess. But yeah, I think that's all on the video today. Sorry that it was kind of all over the place, but it's just something that has been on the back of my mind, and honestly, I've kind of been procrastinating about talking about this, but I know that it's just gonna keep eating away at me, and I might as well just do it. Like what's the harm? And just talking about just helping people, encouraging people to open up more, having open mind, and encouraging people to view things at a different perspective. It's not only like one way that you're thinking about it. It's multiple different ways. Yeah, that's all I have today. Thank you guys for listening. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe down below. It'll help me a lot. It'll kind of help me, like know that there's people supporting me. Leave a comment. Ask me some questions. Like I hate comments. Help comments. Stuff that I can improve on in my channel. Doesn't really matter what kind of comments I get. Honestly, I don't really care if I have haters. It's just more people watching me. But yeah, more videos like these coming out soon. Also, more videos of like my growth, what I do in the daily basis, what my future plans for the future are. Yeah, I just have a lot of things planned for this YouTube channel. It might kind of be all over the place, but I'm looking at it more of as like a video archive, something I can look back on in the future and be like, man, I really come far from where I was before, and I feel like this is not something that I'm going to regret at all. So thank you guys for watching, and adieu.